KOTV 6, Tulsa. This is the News on 6, the 10 o'clock edition, with Clayton Vaughn, Terry Hood, meteorologist Jim Giles, and Bob Stevens on sports.
The wars are over, but the memories remain. Good evening, I'm Clayton Vaughn.
And I'm Terry Hood. Across the country, people gathered today to remember the men and women who died for their country. Here in Tulsa, Memorial Day ceremonies attracted more than 100 people. Veterans from World War I to the Vietnam conflict were on hand for the traditional military service. Representatives from those groups presented wreaths in memory of their fallen comrades. And speakers reminded the audience that freedom doesn't just happen. Someone usually has to pay a price for it. Those who paid with their lives were then honored with a 21-gun salute and taps. A handful of people showed up at the state capitol today for the annual Memorial Day ceremony. Each year, the names of Oklahoma's war dead are read.
Albert Allen, Roy D. Bard.
And in Edmond, there were tears and hugs as 14 jets of water streamed from a fountain built to memorialize slain Postal Service workers. The ceremony was at the Edmond Post Office, where Patrick Henry Sherrill gunned down 14 people before killing himself August 20th, 1986.
Nationally, thousands of Americans strolled among the graves at the National Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia on this Memorial Day. Vice President Dan Quayle placed a wreath on the tomb of the unknowns. Quayle called servicemen the true heroes of our nation and the solid pillars upon which our freedom rests.
As we pray today for courage and steadfastness, let us also pray for wisdom, the wisdom to respond appropriately to enormous changes taking place in the world around us.
President Bush is overseas tonight trying to preserve peace. NATO allies are praising Bush's proposal to cut U.S. combat troops in Europe by 20%. And he's urging the Soviets to make even deeper cuts in their conventional forces.
Here we go now on the offense with a proposal that is bold and tests whether the Soviet Union will move towards balance or whether they insist on retaining an unacceptable conventional force imbalance.
Bush sent a letter to Soviet President Gorbachev yesterday outlining his proposal.
Still ahead, the Chinese government tries another tactic to end pro-democracy demonstrations.
And later in the broadcast, the contributions of two Tulsans shows us what can be achieved in the spirit of Oklahoma.
I'm meteorologist Mike Anderson. If you're planning on traveling south tomorrow, warm and windy weather across Texas, gusty south winds, highs in the 90s, a few thunderstorms across the high plains. Warm weather will continue in the southeast, 88 for a high in Atlanta. In the northeast, 80s across the eastern seaboard and some rain showers across the Great Lakes. Stormy weather also continuing across the northern plains, 80 in Minneapolis. Cooler weather in the northwest, only 67 in Seattle. Plenty of sunshine but cool weather in the southwest, 69 degrees in Los Angeles. Your Green Country forecast here in a few minutes.
On Magnum, it's Thomas to the rescue.
Get in!
For a Navy buddy who runs for his life.
They're muscle for the biggest dealer in the island.
It's double-crossing dope dealers.
What kind of ripoff is this?
I don't know what you guys want, but whatever it is, you have it.
With Thomas holding the bag.
You delivered the stuff yourself. I never want to see you again.
Double-dealing cops.
Our boss doesn't like competition.
On Magnum. Tuesday at 10:30 on Channel 6.
It's too funny for words on the next win, lose, or draw, because Bert Convey's getting hip.
What it is?
Nothing ever bugs him.
Cockroaches, Bert.
I hear you.
With attitude.
And he's drawing with cool friends like Abby Dalton, Mark Summers, Philip Charles McKenzie, and Rosie O'Donnell, who's tough as nails.
When you killed my brother.
Our stars stand them up and knock them dead.
This is it.
On the next win, lose, or draw.
Weekdays at 6:30 on Channel 6.
My dad's a veteran, but he doesn't have a wheelchair. Where is Vietnam? Hey, there's my motor back there. Do you play basketball? Do you drive a special car? Are his legs really chapped off? Yeah. I don't like it when people get hurt.
America has paid a high price for its freedom.
Bus stop.
It was worth it.
The top news story of the day continues to be the incredible shrinking woman.
My story began on what seemed to be a perfectly normal day.
But the doctors confirmed it.
You are shrinking.
Lily Tomlin stars as Pat Kramer.
I'm the shrinking woman.
And her neighbor, Judith Beasley.
Isn't that a comfort?
With cameo appearances by Edith Ann.
What's an accident?
And Ernestine. In the uproarious story of the incredible shrinking woman. Friday night at 10:30 on Channel 6.
Students in China are continuing their battle for democracy, but their numbers are dwindling. And as Richard Roth reports, the government is making strong efforts to show popular support is indeed on its side.
17 days into the sit-in by pro-democracy students, Tiananmen Square today was a squalid tent city with a dwindling population. The students' voices are sharply divided over whether to extend their demonstration or call it off. The state-controlled media have begun making strong efforts to show popular support is turning toward the government, backing martial law, abandoning the protesters. When a group of would-be demonstrators from the south boarded a Beijing-bound train, said state TV, it didn't take much for police to talk them out of making the trip. The pressure is on anyone who might join the protest. Authorities are warning of fines or other punishment. The students admit their challenge to the government is becoming increasingly problematic. Cash to pay for food and supplies is running short, and there's a growing sense the government's patience may soon be running short as well. Richard Roth, CBS News, Beijing.
In other international news tonight, Argentina is under a state of siege. Police were forced today to fire rubber bullets and tear gas to break up mobs angry about soaring prices and rising unemployment. Voters ousted the ruling party in a national election 2 weeks ago. 17 Japanese government officials are under arrest tonight for bribery. The charges stem from an 8-month investigation that brought down the prime minister and shook confidence in the government. Outspoken Soviet politician Boris Yeltsin has claimed a seat in the Supreme Soviet. Yeltsin was denied the position by members of the new Congress, but he ended up with it anyway when another congressman resigned in his favor. And Pope John Paul has accepted Fidel Castro's invitation to visit Cuba. It will be the first papal visit ever to the communist country. No date has been set.
Jim Giles off on this holiday. Mike Anderson in to do the look at the Memorial Day weather. What we've got left of it, not much.
Just a few hours left, and I bet you won't be able to tell much difference between today's and tomorrow's. We're going to see much of the same. Sort of a broken record in our weather forecast. The more warm and windy weather, your forecast just ahead.
Velma was tired of staying home. Sitting watching the world turn made her stomach turn. She tried occupying her time arranging and rearranging the furniture, which almost broke her home and her husband. Now, thanks to Platt College, her creative talents aren't going to waste. Now she's earning money designing and arranging space for homes and offices in a career of her own in interior design. Platt College can help you direct your talents into a successful career and assist you with job placement. Call Platt College today. Financial assistance available.
Then let's bow.
Start fighting.
Then we start fighting like that. Now wait, let's not do this because I don't know what I'm doing here.
Montwane's never-ending energy.
Okay, go easy. You're just teaching me right now.
Keeps Robert Joffe dodging the punches as best he can.
You got a lot of energy, don't you? Yeah, you're ready. Okay.
Seeking the grace and balance of the art. You've Got a Friend. Tuesday at 5 and 10 on the News on 6. Working in the spirit of Oklahoma.
A lot of my friends have already retired. But I wasn't ready for that yet. So I'm still teaching. Not at PS9. This time in Belize, Central America. I decided to join the Peace Corps. Oh, perhaps it's a bit warmer than Florida. But we enjoy it anyway. I love my kids. Every day is new and different. This is why I'm so happy that I came here. And the way I figure it, I have the rest of my life to play cards.
You have a future in the Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
Well, I hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend, and it looks like other than the gusty winds, we had some nice weather for some sun and fun. High temperatures today warmed up generally into the mid-80s to low 90s across Green Country. Here in Tulsa, an afternoon high of 90 degrees. Walter Trammell up in Bartlesville also reported 90 degrees. 90 degrees reported down in Muskogee. The coolest spot off to our east, Frank Ramsey over in Kansas, Oklahoma, they only reached 84 degrees this afternoon. Notice over in Bristow, the warm spot across the area, 94 degrees. Otherwise, generally, again, mid-80s to low 90s. Currently outside, we continue with fair to partly cloudy skies. Still quite warm outside. 81 degrees on the hour. Now, remember, our normal high for this time is only 83, so we're still quite warm across the area. Relative humidity of 53%. Pressure steady, 29.86 inches. We have southerly breezes at 14. The record book for the day shows that morning low very mild 76 and an afternoon high of 90 degrees. We're well above normals for this time of year. Normal 62 and 83. Records 40 and 98. Temperatures across the Sooner State are still quite warm, generally right around that 80-degree mark. 81 in Tulsa, Ponca City, Oklahoma City. 79 degrees reported up in Wichita, Kansas. Also 78 down in McAllister. 79 in Joplin and also in Fayetteville. Our national satellite picture from 10 o'clock last night showed partly cloudy skies across Oklahoma. Now, at 10 o'clock last night, some fairly heavy thunderstorms developing well off to our west, across New Mexico, stretching down the mountain range, down across Mexico. Now, notice as I put the satellite into motion, these storms gradually move to the northeast, but they dissipate during the nighttime hours. We saw a lot of high cloudiness moving across Oklahoma during the day, and once again, heavier thunderstorms are redeveloping out to our west. But notice they are a little bit closer, a little bit farther east than they were at this time yesterday. Thunderstorms, very heavy rains across the Oklahoma, Texas panhandles, back into northeastern New Mexico. Once again, storms off across southwest Texas into Mexico. These storms continue to gradually move to the northeast, so we will see a slight chance of rain later on tonight, probably not until 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. One more large storm system up to our northwest. This will continue to gradually sag southeastward, possibly affecting our weather by Thursday and Friday. Storminess continues well up to our north, some very heavy rains across the Great Lakes. Looks like the heaviest rains will remain up to our north. Storm system with a frontal system stretching from the Great Lakes through the Central Plains back down into the southwest. That means most of the heavier showers and thunderstorms remaining well off to our north. Still a few isolated thunderstorms possible across the state, and it will continue to be very hot tomorrow. Highs in the 90s across much of Oklahoma. Highs in the 80s and 90s across much of the east. Cooler weather, though, up to our northwest behind that cold front. Highs only in the 50s and 60s. Now look at our forecast for tonight. Partly cloudy skies, a few showers developing late tonight. Breezy south winds, temperatures only dropping down to a low of 76 degrees. Then for tomorrow morning, partly cloudy skies. Temperatures in the upper 70s at 8, sun up at 6:08. For tomorrow afternoon, isolated thunderstorms late in the day. Otherwise, more warm and windy weather, gusty south winds, an afternoon high near 90. The extended forecast calls really for much of the same throughout much of the week. Plenty of sunshine Wednesday, 76 and 90. Thursday, a slight chance of thunderstorms, 76 and 91. And Friday, we still have to go with a slight chance of rain as that next storm system moves in. A morning low of 70, warming back up to 87. All in all, basically the same kind of weather right on through Friday.
Well, it's very nice, though. On the other
Not
hand.
too bad.
Yes,
It is nice. Now back to reality for everyone, though.
Back to the work week, that's right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Next weekend, KOTV broadcasts the Children's Miracle Network Telethon.
100% of the money raised here goes to the Children's Medical Center in Tulsa. But it takes more than money to make the hospital work. Tonight, Glenda Sylvie shows us two people who contribute their time in the spirit of Oklahoma.
Like most people who work at Children's Medical Center, B.J. Spence was drawn here because of her love for children. B.J. volunteers in the mailroom and in the Vocational Training Center, which trains adolescents and adults for the ultimate goal of job placement. At first, B.J. wasn't sure about working in VTC. Now she can't imagine why she ever hesitated.
I don't know what it does for them, but when I walk in the door, they all know I'm here. So that makes me feel real special. She's got pretty hair, but she just thought...
When some of the women in the training center approached B.J. for advice on grooming, she helped design a class on personal hygiene. CMC staff say that wherever BJ is working, she's upbeat and exciting for trainees to be around.
It's really a help to have volunteers who are not in an authoritarian role, that can be a friend but yet help our trainees in many different ways. We have this best product in the world, another human being, and most of us probably couldn't sell raffle tickets, but we can certainly work toward job placement with a person with a handicap.
Florene Hough has been volunteering at CMC since 1982.
I had retired, and I wanted to do something. And I was invited to a luncheon of the Auxiliary of Children's Medical Center. And I was so impressed with those neat ladies and what they did that I said, that's something I want to do.
Florene says the most impressive thing about Children's Medical Center is the total dedication of everyone there, from the employees to members of the auxiliary. Each year, volunteers contribute thousands of dollars to the hospital through projects such as the thrift shop. Florene offers this word to potential donors to CMC.
All they have to do is just see one child that comes into this center, like the little boy that was here a couple of years ago that was so badly burned. And he came in for treatment and therapy. And from the times I saw him in the hall, I could almost see an improvement in the child, because every time I saw him, my heart went to my toes. But he seemed to just improve almost by the weeks when he was here. That's a good feeling, to know that you're volunteering someplace that really helps, and really helps the children.
There are dozens more like BJ and Florene, but many more are needed. And these volunteers guarantee it will become one of the most important jobs of anyone's life.
I just have so much more than a lot of these kids have. I just feel like they need somebody to love them, take care of them. I'm gonna start crying. I don't think this is right.
Personal satisfaction of doing something to help the children, and it helps me. You know, I think I get more out of it than anybody else.
I don't know. I have a feeling there's some children who are getting a lot out of knowing those two ladies.
Well, it cuts both ways, and everybody comes out the winner, and that's the nice thing about that. The Miracle Network Telethon, incidentally, is next weekend, not this weekend, starts Saturday night and runs through Sunday. And the really unique thing about it is that 100% of all of the pledges that are made and all of the money that comes in here goes to the local Children's Medical Center.
It's a great way to help out our local community and the children.
And it is. Dwayne Parsons will be along next with sports.
Hello, I'm Glenda Sylvie.
I'm Robert Jaffe. And I'm Roy Clark. June 3rd and 4th, Glenda and Robert will be live on Channel 6, telling you about some of my favorite people, the kids and staff of Children's Medical Center.
That's right, Roy. Last year alone, CMC treated more than 26,000 children with medical or emotional problems.
So join us again this year for the Children's Miracle Network Telethon. You'll be surprised just how much CMC does. And I'll have a few surprises myself. Oh, yeah? Yeah.
In Oklahoma, one person can make a difference. Tulsa's North YWCA and 15 minority teenagers are better off today because of the commitment and hard work of Janelle Zwallen. While working toward a psychology degree from the University Center at Tulsa, Janelle volunteered her time to make the Y's Career Visions Project a reality. Janelle's involvement with the Y is a great example of a young person who lives her life in the spirit of Oklahoma.
Cogill Movie Reviews. A quick taste of what to watch, only on the News on 6. Working in the spirit of Oklahoma.
In the time it takes to air this announcement, 12 children will die from hunger-related causes. But according to the National Academy of Sciences, we could overcome worldwide hunger and malnutrition within one generation if we had the will. We're Results, a grassroots lobbying organization. And we're right here in your community. We can show you how to make a difference. Call us. Results.
Bob Stevens taking the evening off. Dwayne Parsons here. Everyone I heard today was talking about basketball, but you've got some big baseball
And we're
news.
going to start with baseball. National League pitchers breathe a sigh of relief tonight. Fans a sigh of perhaps despair, because Memorial Day 1989 will be remembered as the day time finally caught up with one of baseball's giants. Mike Schmidt, obviously the best third baseman of our era, arguably the best ever, but that's for the historians to decide. Now, the future Hall of Famer calling it a career after 17 seasons, 548 home runs, 12 All-Star appearances, and 10 Gold Glove years with the Phillies.
Some 18 years ago, I left Dayton, Ohio, with 2 very bad knees. And a dream to become a Major League Baseball player. I thank God that the dream came true.
And about 10 million baseball fans are happy about it, too. Anybody who ever saw him tear into one. Watch this guy tear into the ball. Barry Bonds, as the games go on this afternoon, 3-run homer. Pittsburgh beats Cincinnati. Now the Astros and the Cardinals. Craig Biggio is the catcher for Houston now that they've let Alan Ashby go, and he earns his keep today, beating the Cardinals 3-2. Other National League scores: Atlanta over Chicago 2-1. San Francisco beats the Mets. Montreal and Los Angeles, rather, are 2-2 in the 8th. Philly and San Diego are just in the 7th inning, and it's 1-0. Mike Schmidt going out the door on his own. This guy perhaps shoved down the steps today. 46-year-old pitcher Tommy John cut by the Yankees. Now, Bobby Valentine watching another of the over 40 gang, another future Hall of Famer, Nolan Ryan, and this isn't a pretty sight either. Orioles pretty rough on Ryan tonight, beating him 6-1. The rest of the American League scores: Cleveland and Toronto 5-3. Indians a final there. The Yankees beat Seattle. Detroit 4-2 over Chicago, a grand slam by Matt Noakes. California beats Milwaukee. Other scores: Oakland and Boston 3-2 Red Sox. Kansas City beats Minnesota 7-1. Next stop for the Razorback Roadshow, Omaha, Nebraska. Arkansas is going to the College World Series. Hogs a long way from home today. Waterbury, Connecticut, playing Arizona State when Don Thomas goes long distance with the baseball. That homer providing the only run Arkansas needs in the first game of the day. Then it is on to the title game where Arkansas avenges an earlier loss to the Lemoyne Dolphins. And like I said, next stop, Nebraska. Finals of the 10th annual Bill Coyle Baseball Tournament. Time for a cold one. And time for Union to show why it's the top-rated American Legion baseball team in the state, pounding Stillwater 19-5 to capture the Coyle Trophy. Looks like the L.A. Lakers will get a nice long rest. Now, they've already beaten everybody in the West. Now they watch as Chicago and Detroit beat up on each other in the NBA Eastern Conference. Michael Jordan looking to give the Bulls a 3-1 edge in the final. Not today, though. Pistons beat them by 6. That series is tied at 2 games apiece. Day 1 of the French Open Tennis Championships, one of the 4 majors. On the women's side, Steffi Graf and Gabriela Sabatini slide through round 1. And on this Memorial Day, American tennis Methuselah Jimmy Connors in the far court cashes in, surviving on the red clay. Now keep in mind, a Yank hasn't won this thing since 1955. Here in the States, we traditionally celebrate our holidays with baseball, or maybe our form of football, but we're starting to get in step with the rest of the world. Green Country Soccer out at Union Stadium this weekend, and you can almost detect a hint of World Cup fever.
Atención, peligro, remate,
Sound familiar? You're going to hear a lot of that in the next few years with the World Cup coming here in '94. Actually, those are the Catoosa Young Guns beating the Sapulpa 89ers for the boys' 14 and under tournament title. Zillions of games and zillions of teams, players running up and down the AstroTurf, and their mothers will be happy. They're so tired, they're going to sleep for about a week.
I'm confused. Who was the announcer there? Or
that was from the World Cup, the last World Cup, the Mexican announcer who became famous worldwide for sustaining that pitch and that intensity for 30, 45 seconds. Anytime a goal was scored.
All right. So they had him there for inspiration, or we just added that? Oh, okay.
Thanks.
We're all clear.
Thanks, Terry.
All right. I didn't know. Thanks, Dwayne.
Up next now, a unique and touching Memorial Day observance here in Green Country.
Stay with us.
Dust, bacteria, mold, fungus, and pollen. These can cause respiratory problems. Air ducts can be a breeding ground for indoor pollutants. Watch this demonstration as dust, mold, and other household pollutants are safely removed by Air Care and Just Chimneys. Recommended by leading allergists, Air Care will clean and sanitize your heating and air conditioning system to reduce dust and pollen from your home or office. Isn't it time you enjoyed a cleaner and healthier environment? Call Air Care and Just Chimneys for a free inspection. 664-7470.
17 stories above Kansas City, you can get a clear view of Tulsa. That's because I'm at the National Severe Storms Forecast Center. Their satellites keep their eyes on green country 24 hours a day.
Here at Channel 6, meteorologist Mike Anderson and I constantly monitor Oklahoma's ever-changing weather. Because when it comes to weather, the more people looking out for you, the better.
Jim Giles and Doppler 6 Radar, working in the spirit of Oklahoma.
No show has genuine stars like the Hollywood Squares. This week, you'll meet the real Roy Clark, the one and only Joan Rivers, the original Shadow Stevens, and none other than Jim J.
Aren't I just the wackiest?
Plus, the wonderful Will Shriner, those cute kids from Full House, the fabulous Phyllis Diller, and designing women's main man, Meshack Taylor. Accept no substitutes. Ask for them by name. The new Hollywood Squares.
Weekdays at 9:30 on Channel 6.
As a cornea transplant recipient, Benjamin Johnson has a buddy for life.
It would be like being legally blind. It was a miracle. Now he's just a real visual child. I wish those donor families could see how their loved one has lived on.
You can give the gift of hope. Sign a donor card and be a buddy for life.
Life is about making choices. If you or someone you know has an alcohol or drug problem, or if you grew up in a home where alcohol or drugs were a problem, New Choice can help.
Mike Anderson back with us to tell us what you can expect when you head for work tomorrow.
You know, the worst thing probably is just to figure out that it's Tuesday and not Monday.
No, that's the best thing.
That's the best thing. Well, a short week. We're going to have some continue with warm and windy conditions probably right on through much of the work week. And not much relief for your air conditioner either tonight, as temperatures only are going to be dropping down into the mid-70s, then back with plenty of sunshine tomorrow and those gusty south winds, temperatures climbing back up to near the 90-degree mark, so no relief from this warm and dry weather.
Well, it's not quite officially summer yet, but at least the Memorial Day holiday is always the beginning, and it looks like it's worked out well.
It's kicked it off in a good style.
All right, thank you, Mike. Memorial Day brings people together, people from all walks of life. What happened today in Hulbert, Oklahoma, is testament to that. Rick Peterson explains.
They came dressed in leather, proudly riding their Harleys. They are the Vietnam Veterans Motorcycle Club of Tahlequah. They came to the little town of Hulbert to meet with these somewhat stunned people who really had no idea what was about to happen. They were here to honor their sons, 4 young men whose names are engraved in granite who were from Hulbert and died in the Vietnam War. There hasn't been a ceremony here since the monument was put up 20 years ago, until today. The bikers had spotted the monument a few weeks ago and notified the families in advance that they wanted to come by today and remember.
Freeze in, horn. Order, horn. Move your heads for one moment of silence.
Seeing their sincerity, the tension was broken. Strangers were now friends.
Never gets easier.
There's brothers that people forgot that we haven't, and the respect and the love, and they're always in our minds, and we come to visit them, show them just how much we care.
It's been a long time, but you never forget anything like this. It's been almost 21 years now. It'll be 21 years in June since our son was killed. And it's touching, it's moving, but we're grateful that somebody still remembers.
But remembering is not always easy.
The question at times of why were we there? And why is it that some of us haven't even got to come back yet? And those of us that are here, we wonder if we've even come home.
My son had a little baby girl. She was born the 3rd of July, and he died the 10th of July, and she never seen him And she graduated from Tahlequah Friday night and is going on to Notre Dame. And as I think of the memorial, I think of the many years that she didn't see him and never got to see him, and he never got to know her.
Before the veterans left, they promised to take care of the monument in the future, cutting the grass, putting up a flagpole. The families were pleased. Not only did someone care about the upkeep of their little-known monument, someone cared about their sons. In Hulbert, Rick Peterson, Channel 6 News.
And that's the news for this Memorial Day, Monday, June 29th. We hope you had a pleasant holiday.
Thank you for sharing your time. Good night.
Aim, lock. Aim, lock.